Welcome to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. Every Wednesday, Mark and Kim, along with their special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Mark and Kim will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience, and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Mark and Kim are tested, certified, and professional spiritual mediums, metaphysical teachers, healers, and spiritual advisors with their own individual spiritual practices in Seattle, Washington, and Los Angeles, California. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be at in this beautiful world of ours. Welcome to another episode of Inspired Living with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes Radio, the voice of consciousness. I am your host today, Mark Lanehart, the Intuitive Prospector, and just want to say thank you so much to all of our inspired listeners out there all around the world. Thank you for joining on this live episode today. And again, if you missed the live episode, you can always catch all of our encore shows over on OMTimes Radio Archives, Podbean, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, or I have my favorite episodes, and I'm sure I'm going to put this one up there as well, over at marklanehart.com. Just want to say happy Thanksgiving to our inspired listening community here in the United States. Tomorrow is a day to celebrate and have gratitude and be thankful for what we do have with family and friends. If you're traveling, be safe out there. And if you want to work with me or you want to check out the work that I'm doing, a couple places that you can find me. You can find me at Best American Psychics. You can find me every Wisdom Wednesday here at 12 p.m. Pacific on Inspired Living Radio, our internet show. You can also catch me Monday mornings over on the OMTimes Expert platform, where I do a live Facebook video feed called Metaphysical Mocha Mondays with Mark, and that's at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And it's a nice live interaction video where you can ask me questions, and sometimes we talk about what's currently going on, and sometimes I do readings. It's just kind of open-ended, so I hope that you'll join me on Monday mornings for that, and make sure to bring a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. If you want to check out the work that my fabulous co-host Kim Falcon is doing, please visit her at lovefirst.info. You can also find out more about her work at Best American Psychics. Unfortunately, Kim is still under the weather today. She doesn't have a voice, so it's hard to do a radio show when you don't have a voice. So, Kim, we're just sending you lots of love and healing and hope that you get back on your feet real soon. So today is going to be a fun show. We have a very special guest coming to us live from Atlanta, and we're going to be talking about lifestyle. We're going to be talking about fitness, and we thought it would be a good time to have this special guest on because tomorrow is Thanksgiving, which is all evolved around food and lots of eating, and then we get done with this holiday, and then we go right into the Christmas holiday with more food and lifestyle. So I want to read a little bit about Lisa Tanker and her background. And if you want to call in, guys, you can go over to our Facebook page right now. Interact. I'm monitoring the page live, so you can ask your questions there on the Facebook page. That's under Inspired Living Radio. Or you can call in right now at 202-570-7057. This is the best way to communicate with us if you have a question for myself, for Kim, or all of our special guests that we have every Wednesday. Again, that number is 202-570-7057, or visit the Facebook page, which is Inspired Living Radio, and ask your question there. You can also follow us over on Google Plus Community under Inspired Living with Mark and Kim, Instagram and Twitter under Inspired for Us. That's the number 4. Those are our 4 main social media sites. And let's have a great show today. I hope that people will call in and ask some questions and get inspired and learn more about fitness and a healthy lifestyle. So Lisa has a background. She's known as a fitness and lifestyle guru, and she has cultivated her own massive, amazing transformation community of over 1,500 clients. Lisa is unique in this field because of her ATC program, which incorporates personalized fitness plans and specific emotional support to help her clients achieve ultimate results in health. I think that's very important as emotional and lifestyle playing into the fitness. She was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. She Lisa learned early on the importance of physical fitness and health while witnessing her mother struggle with diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. This left an incredible impression on Lisa. Inspired to make a difference, Lisa went on to earn her Bachelor of Science degree in healthcare management from Florida A&M University, as well as a dual master's degree in business and healthcare. Wow, that's a lot of degrees, Lisa. It's a lot of completing 8 years of work in the pharmaceutical industry. Lisa decided to use her education, in which she has a lot of education, to help others achieve health and implement an effective fitness routine. After experiencing her own health crisis that included significantly low oxygen levels and a 7-day hospital stay, scary, Lisa decided that she had to take extra care and become a role model for her clients and family. She opened up a private fitness studio, and as a CPT, Lisa's approach has been to educate clients on nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle so that they can be healthy and maintain a beautiful body every day of their life. Lisa's dynamic teaching approach of addressing wellness from a complete 360-degree lifestyle overhaul has enabled women to lose weight and improve their health through her training, while simultaneously building self-confidence and a better outlook on life. She is a true health and wellness expert who uses her own fitness and experiences as inspiration and motivation. Lisa Tanker, welcome to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim.
Thank you so much, Mark. I'm happy to be here.
Well, thanks for being on the show. And like we were talking before the show, we thought it would be awesome to have somebody that could talk about fitness, could talk about lifestyle right around the holiday season. This is a tough period, even though it's usually a day of celebration on Thanksgiving. It can also be a very tough period for people because it's centered around food. It's centered about not exercising, the kind of lifestyle we have. But let's just take a couple minutes and talk about your journey. I think it's awesome that you had your own experience. You can have all the education in the world, but you went through that hospital stay. You went through your own scare. You saw your mother go through her struggles with health, and that really puts you on the path today to be here on the radio show and also, having your own business, helping people all around the world. So I want to commend you for that and say thank you. But again, it's very inspiring because pain does make us pay attention, doesn't it?
Wow, pain makes us pay a lot of attention, particularly when we want to grow. And I must tell you that I've had so many clients that I've trained, and when they first look at me, they're like, oh, Lisa seems so perfect. And so over the years, everybody thought I had this look of perfection. Nobody really knew what I had experienced. And it wasn't until I realized, I really have to completely share things that were very traumatic for me and let people know that the reason I was able to help them was because I, too, had experienced a lot of the things that the women came to me to accomplish were experiencing. So I took all of, like you say, when you talk about the pain, I remember at one point telling a friend of mine, if I could change this part of my life, which I'm not somebody who's focused on changing what's happened in the past, but it was so traumatic for me that I said, if I could change this part of my life when I went through a period of 1.5 years, not knowing when I could breathe and when I would be in the emergency room, I would totally change it. And I remember that friend saying, but you would not be who you are today and able to help people. So you're right. It's been a lot of growth, but thankfully I'm able to pour this into other people.
Yeah, and I found in doing this work for several years now, I have found that those of us that are in the service of helping others, inspiring others, helping heal others, helping train others, it's because of the path and the journey that we've taken, and we've walked in those shoes, so we know what it's like. And I found that pretty consistent through the spiritual work that I do as a psychic medium. In my own journey and my own near-death experience and the loss of, my brothers and father-in-law, and a lot of tragedies, but it's through those tragedies that put me on the path to be speaking with you here today. So I love that.
Absolutely.
And real quick, I was waiting to say, we have a positive affirmation that we say every month here on the radio show, and we like to incorporate that into the show. So I was kind of waiting just so we could be talking about lifestyle. But the positive affirmation for this month of November is, I acknowledge all things that I'm doing well. And I was kind of waiting for the timing of that because I think that's a very important positive affirmation, a mantra that you can incorporate. So if you're listening to the show today, use that. Use that with your lifestyle. Use that with your fitness. I acknowledge all things I'm doing well. You don't have to be a perfectionist. You don't have to, no right or wrong. Just acknowledge what you're doing well because you're doing all things well, including lifestyle and fitness.
Absolutely. That's very powerful. Yes.
Yeah, and that's our Inspired Living positive affirmation. I think this is the last one for November. I can't believe November is literally almost gone. Where's the time
2016 is flying by, I tell you. I feel like I'm still 20, but the years seem to be moving.
I'm with you on that one. So real quick, we got a couple minutes before we're going to go to our first break, Lisa, but let's talk about your own journey. We already know, from your family experiences, from your own personal experience. Do you mind sharing what put you in the hospital for the low oxygen? Was that cardiac related or?
So, basically I got to a point in my life when I was in pharmaceutical sales that I had gained weight because I was entertaining so many physicians. And I looked at myself one day and said, oh gosh, you need to lose weight. Now, this was 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, things were not as focused on this, having this really tight body. Like my body was still good at the time, although it would be totally below average, based on criteria these days. However, it was fine. And it's, but, I knew I needed to lose weight because I had gained 20 pounds. And my wanting to lose weight was really based on vanity. It was because I thought I could just look better and I needed to, enhance my appearance. And so that turned into me seeking a trainer. I learned how to eat. And within 3 months or 2.5 months, I lost about 25 pounds. And so I said, oh, wow, this is great. And everything I thought I was doing right, I really was doing wrong. So I thought that I was eating healthy, but I learned a new way of eating. So I figured I want to show other people how to do this. So a lot of people, we would go to the gym, we would do workout classes.
So hold that thought right there, Lisa. We're going to come back here in 2 minutes. We're going to our first break, but we're going to pick up the conversation with our special guest, Lisa Tanker, fitness and lifestyle guru. We'll be back in 2 minutes here on Inspired Living Radio with Mark and Kim. Stick around.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Have you been searching for a perspective beyond the mainstream? Check it out. Join your hosts Cielito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share International Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us at shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for.
Are you seeking answers to life questions? Would you like to connect to a departed loved one? Are you suffering from pain, stress, or anxiety? Kimberly Thalkin is a tested, certified, and professional psychic, spiritual medium, energy healer, hypnotherapist, and the founder of Love First, where life transformations happen. Love First services support, guide, and empower individuals by connecting them to their highest potential to live a healthier, joyful, and meaningful life that's filled with purpose. All services can be done by phone, Skype, or in person in Encino, California. Please visit lovefirst.info. That's LOVEFIRST.info for more information.
There are many sounds in your daily life. Ones that make you smile. Ones that help you relax. And there are some sounds that can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you critical information about emergencies in your area. With updates from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know wherever you are. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Inspired Living Radio with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes. Thank you for joining in today's conversation with our very special guest, Lisa Tanker, fitness and lifestyle guru. If you want to talk with myself, it's just me today hosting the show. Kim is unfortunately under the weather, but feel free to call in, guys, at 202-570-7057. Give us your name, where you're from, and what question you have, or you can head over to our live Facebook page right now and interact with the show live under Inspired Living Radio. I've got the page up in front of me, and just keep an eye on if you have any questions out there that you'd like to ask Lisa or myself. Again, if you want to work with me in the Seattle area, the Pacific Northwest, you can find me on Best American Psychics, Best Psychic Directory, OMTimes Experts. Here on the radio show, just visit marklaneHart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector. I would love to go spiritually prospecting with you to help you find your own spiritual gold. So, Lisa, before the break, we were talking about a little bit of vanity on your end about losing weight, but I think it's fair to say that society, especially for women, society puts a lot of pressure on women on how they look. So I'd say probably just a small aspect. I've seen your picture, and the vanity, I think, would be a very small aspect. I do feel that society and how people should look on TV or, commercials and advertising, it's pretty tough out there.
This whole vanity thing, and for me, it was before the age of, Instagram getting so big and social media. It was simply because I said, hey, I just want to look better. But today, to your point, so many images we see, whether they are real or whether they are actually edited, which a lot of photos are edited, really put pressure on people subconsciously that we believe that we need to look and feel a certain way. Do I believe that we should take care of ourselves? Yes, and appearance is important, but not to the point that we put ourselves in a dangerous situation. And as I was telling you the story, that is actually what happened to me. I started working out, and I mentioned that I lost weight, and I wanted to help other people. And within a year of losing weight, my trainer at the time said, hey, I heard him talking about a competition. I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And it was before the figure competitions and the bodybuilding. I did figure, which is more feminine, got really popular, particularly the figure. And I was like, I'll do that. So the next year, although I had already lost weight, I figured I'd try something I had never tried, and that was getting my body to a point of getting on a stage and people judging you, saying this is what is perfection and this is what is not. And because I was in sports, I'm very competitive, and it was a way to challenge myself and keep working out, I started competing. So I needed to share that with you because the whole framework of where I'm going with this is that little did I know that by putting my body in a deficit with calories, training really hard, not sleeping, working a full-time job, at one point during that time, being a single mother, working my way up in management, and all the other things that as a woman I felt the responsibility to do as a mother, as a child of a parent, I put myself in a very, very dangerous situation. So bottom line is, this was my wake-up call when I learned that everything about healthy living was not simply about exercising and eating, although eating is a huge part. Exercising is key, but a large component that we don't talk about is how we manage stress and how we make decisions to not stress ourselves out. So although I didn't know this at the time, I started having these respiratory issues, and because I physically looked like I was fine, every time I would go to the doctor, they're like, we just can't find anything wrong with you. So over a period of a year and a half, I was literally in the emergency room almost every single month with respiratory issues. And the doctor would give me some oxygen, give me a breathing treatment, and, say, hey, you're fine. Maybe give me some prednisone and say you're fine. And I would go to the emergency room and get released immediately after they got me under control. But a year and a half into this, I was still trying to do everything as normal. Once I felt better, it could be 2 days later, I'm back in the gym. I'm not resting. And so essentially, after a year and a half, the last time I went to the emergency room, I was about to do a competition. I was about a day and a half out, and I thought, wow, I thought I worked really hard. I looked good. But I couldn't breathe that night. And by this time, I had gotten married. And at the time, the man that I was married to said, is this going to be another night in the emergency room? And I said, yeah, it is. But this time when I went to the emergency room, the doctor looked at me and said, you are absolutely fine. He did not give me any oxygen, no breathing treatment, and I was not diagnosed with any type of asthma, had never had any issues in my life, and he was sending me home. And I said, I cannot go, doctor. There is no way I can leave this hospital. And so he said, well, I'll check your blood oxygen, and that is when your oxygen is taken through your artery to get an accurate reading, and my blood oxygen was 60%. Anything below 85% is bad. At 60%, your organs are losing oxygen and can begin to shut down. So had I gone home that day, I know that I literally would have lost my life. It took the hospital 7 days with me having 24-hour care to get my lungs to simply open back up to function at least a level that I could be released. And I remember being in the hospital bed at the time saying, how can I teach health and I'm really not healthy? And because I had been going to the doctors and they had not really identified anything wrong, I really had to take it upon myself to identify what the issues were. And the issues came back to really balancing my life, working out moderately, 3 to 4 days a week. And when I say that 3 to 4 days a week, I can have intense bursts, but it has to be 3 to 4 days a week, not stressing my body out and being very smart about the workout, eating a very well-balanced meal. And for me, well-balanced, I love more live foods. I'm not a meat eater, but for somebody else, that may just kind of be the overall well-balanced, not eating the processed. But then that third component, which people don't address, but this is the key of what I do address, is what is my lifestyle like? Being aware of when I felt tired, when I needed to say no to something, when I felt stressed, and what I needed to do to start alleviating that stress. So now I meditate every morning. I make sure that if I don't feel as good as I normally should because I have a lot on my mind, I'll take a walk to relieve tension. So now this is how I got into the whole lifestyle and helping people. And it was fortunately for people that are able to now learn from me, but unfortunately, because it definitely was very traumatic for me that I had to experience that. But thank God I have used this in a way now to truly help people, and I know that I'm here to help people through my experience.
Yeah, and I like to call it the spiritual workout room because I think you made some great points about balance, about stress, because stress is a choice, just like peace is a choice. But finding that balance between mind, body, and spirit, because it sounds like you jumped deep into the pool, wanted to lose all the weight, was so focused in on losing the weight that you lost the aspect of that balance of your mind and your thoughts. And so meditation can help. I'm a big fan of meditation. Meditation has changed my life and put me on the path to do the work that I do spiritually. Meditation is powerful. So that's awesome that you incorporate the mind, body, and spirit or soul aspect of what you're doing. Because there is a lot of stress. It seems like this world we live in is just so fast-paced, and there's just so much going on. Even just trying to find time to work out for some people that might be working 2 jobs or, commuting to and from work. I'm here in Seattle, and this is one of the fastest growing cities in the nation right now. And the traffic alone with the population boom, some people are averaging, 1 to 2 hours of carpooling just to get, to and from work. So do you recommend a certain time of day to exercise? How do you make time to exercise? You said 3 to 4 days a week, not every day. Maybe get some insight to that.
So the first thing when we talk about time, that is one of the key issues I've heard most people say that they have with working out. So the first thing that I say when time is an issue, I love to ask this question. I would pose to everyone listening right now, if your employer or an important client, if you have a business, asks you to stay an additional hour 3 days a week, would you stay? And I pause because I've asked that question to thousands of people, and only one person, a very young millennial who's like, I can do whatever I want to do. 99.9, if I could get any higher, 10 people have said I would find the time to stay. So my point in that is I have to address the time issue to say, is this really time management, or is this about priorities? So before we can even move forward with time, we have to say, is healthy living truly my priority in my life? Because when something is a priority, we don't make excuses for it. And when we say our job is important enough, everybody else in our family is, and we have to say, well, why have I not made myself as important as everything else? So I'm here to say that you are as important as everything else in your life, because none of these other things would happen without you taking care of yourself. So understand, if you said yes to that question that you would make time because you knew you would lose your job or this important client, then time is available. So now how do we say, okay, well, I'm still busy and I feel a little frustrated with trying to manage my time? And that might be the bigger key, because we know that we can find time for things that are important. So now how do I manage the time? I always say take a look at your complete week and map out the things that you do each day. And when you physically are looking at it, you start to find these gaps in your schedule. So by finding gaps in your schedule, you want to pick out, even if it's 2 days initially just to get started, pick out 2 days. And I always say pick out the easiest days. So typically people want to kind of jam everything during the week. But if you're off on Saturday and Sunday, I always say start with the easiest days for you, because now you know you can sleep in and you can get up on your own schedule without feeling stress and pressure. So always start with like what works for you. And then once you kind of map out those days and you pick out those times, then you want to start to execute. And one other thing I say is, we read so much, and you might read it's best to work out in the morning. It's best to work out, whatever you read. I say that it's best for you to work out when it feels right to you. So for example, I am not a morning person. I've met a lot of clients that are not morning people, and they say, they get all excited. The new year is starting. I'm going to start working out. I'm going at 5 in the morning because I read it was great. But I always say you have to set yourself up for success. If you know that at 5 in the morning you typically won't make it, you don't like to get out of the bed, then initially, if you're just getting started, that is setting you up for failure. And I don't want you to fail. Like, you can totally be successful at this. So the key is to say, you know what, if I feel better in the afternoon, I'm going to need to put a bag in the car with me, and I'm going to go immediately to the gym because I do know that I may have the habit of going home. Let's stop this habit, and now let's go right to the gym. But this will be better for me. Then that is when you start to make the best use of the time management, and then to be successful with implementation of really starting to work out. So again, pick out 2 to 3 days a week initially.
Okay, well, we're going to go to our second break, but we're going to continue this conversation on lifestyle, time management, fitness with our fitness and lifestyle guru, Lisa Tanker. If you want to find out more about her, you can visit her at www.lisatanker.com. Stick around. We'll be back in 2 minutes here on Inspired Living Radio with Mark and Kim.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Mark Lanehart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Mark's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Mark's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklanehart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Sparky the Fire Dog here. Protect your family from fire. Make sure your home has smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside your sleeping areas, and on every level of your home, even your basement. For games and activities, go to sparky.org.
We want to keep you, your family, and your community safer from fire. This message brought to you by the National Fire Protection Association and your local fire department. Visit sparky.org.
Inspired listeners to Inspired Living Radio with Mark and Kim, our very, very special guest, Lisa Tanker, fitness and lifestyle guru. Before we went to the break, Lisa, we were talking about time management, the best time to work out, not setting yourself up for failure. Let's continue that thought about time management, because I do find that it can be tough. And we are creatures of habit, and getting, breaking these habits, they talk about, taking 30 days to try to get out of our bad habits. And for me, the mornings are very tough and I get going. But fortunately, I meditate in the morning, so that's kind of my exercise for the brain.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, let's continue that conversation. And for our inspired listeners out there, if you want to get in touch with Lisa on the awesome work that she's doing there in the Atlanta area, do you do consultations online as well, Lisa, as far as through Skype, or is it more in-person sessions for you?
I do online as well, and the best way to reach me is either via Instagram at Lisa Tanker, or to go to my website and email me from the website.
Okay, perfect. And that website again is lisatanker.com. That's TAKER. And you're also on Twitter at Lisa_Tanker, and Instagram at Lisa Tanker, and Facebook.
Actually, it's just Lisa, Lisa Tanker, Tanker. No underscore, no dash, nothing. Just on Twitter, on Instagram, and Instagram. And to your point, yes. And to your point, lisatanker.com is the website.
Yep, perfect. So yeah, check her out, guys, if you want to get on the path of being in shape, more fitness, more lifestyle. Because Lisa is also going to talk in the second half of the show here about your 360 program. I was reading that in your bio, and I'm curious to know more about that information and some of your background as far as the licenses that you hold as far as your fitness certifications, if people are inspired to want to maybe get educated and licensed in the same kind of work that you're doing. But if you want to call into the show right now, guys, 202-570-7057. We're taking your calls live now here on Inspired Living Radio. If you want to head over to our Facebook page and interact with us live there, that's Inspired Living Radio. Just ask to become an Inspired listener. We'll get you approved in, and you can ask your question there. But let's continue the thoughts on time management and the aspects right before we went to the break, Lisa.
Absolutely. So just doing a summary of this, the first thing is to acknowledge if you have additional time. And if you can answer yes to our question, if your employer asks you or a client asks you to stay an additional hour 3 days a week, would you have time? If you answer, or would you make time? If you answer yes to that question, then it means that you do have time. So now we're dealing with the next step, which is how do we manage it and how do we now, incorporate fitness and healthy living? So one thing that we didn't address initially is the question I always say to ask yourself as well is, what is your why? Why is it that you want to be healthy? What is so important to you that no matter what changes happen in your schedule, in your life, that you are now committed to living this lifestyle forever, as long as you're here, which we hope is a very long time. And so that why, if it is something that you say, hey, I know I just want to lose weight, but you haven't stuck to executing, then I have to say that is not your why. That is, I know why you believe that you do, but that why is something that keeps you moving no matter what changes happen. And a lot of times it touches you in the heart. It's something that may move you a little bit internally. And so now when you feel like I don't want to work out, you go back to, but why am I doing this? And so now you can logically, a lot of fitness, healthy living is using our mind to logically get back to the right place we're supposed to be to execute. So it's becoming mentally stronger, right? And so now you can say, even when I don't feel like working out, well, my why is that I want to be able to walk up these stairs and be healthy. I want to be able to see my grandkids. I want to just have a longer, healthier life. And if that inspires you, then you go back to that. And that why makes you get up even when you don't feel like it and execute. And then as you start to see the results, that keeps you going as well. So between the why and acknowledging that you have time, and then mapping your schedule out to say, where are my breaks in my schedule? And then mapping out the best plan for you, and that is working out when it is most convenient. It may not be absolutely convenient, but it's most convenient, and you feel good about it, or you feel the best about it compared relative to another time. Then you start to execute. And those 4 things will get people in the right place to start moving and to even start to make healthier lifestyle decisions overall.
Yeah, I love that approach, Lisa, because it all starts with your thoughts, right? Thoughts become our words become our actions become our behavior becomes our destiny. So I love that you approach that from a strong mindset as well. And, you know, that's really important, because without your health, everything is second nature. Your job, your relationship. If you don't have good health, or you don't have your health, and I know this from my own personal experiences, everything else is just not as important if you're not feeling right. If you just, you know, if you're in the hospital for 7 days, did they ever, one of the things I want to talk about is you can be in the best shape of your life, but sometimes we have this thing called genetics and the cards that we're dealt that we have to, you know, also work through. Did they ever diagnose you, or did they ever tell you why the low oxygen? Were you just exhausted and your body had just taken on too much while you were in the hospital?
So I was never actually diagnosed, but I do get treated now as if, quote, I have asthma, because my respiratory system was so messed up. But I was never initially diagnosed with that over a year and a half. So what I came to an understanding of is that I had stressed my body out. I essentially, and so for stress, if you think about it, stress for some people shows up in their heart. Some people say, you know, my stomach, I don't feel good, or I get a headache. For me, it manifested through my respiratory system. And so that was why the doctor, because I had even gone to a pulmonologist during that year and a half, and they did my lung function. It was strong. It was like, no, this is like really, really good. So essentially, it apparently showed up like my body got taxed and stressed. And so what my doctor who treats me now said to me is that I was a non-perceiver. He said, I did not perceive when I didn't feel good. So because I didn't perceive that, I continued to exacerbate inflammation in my body. And the inflammation showed up as the respiratory issues. So every time I would get sick and feel like, 2 days later, they patched me up. He's like, it was pretty much playing patch up. We're patching a wound. You can't breathe. Let's give you some, and so essentially to the point that I damaged my lungs. And then I had to get treated as if I was asthmatic, because my lungs were damaged at that point.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? It just shows you how strong the mind really can be, that you can push through that, but yet at the same time you're not getting oxygenated blood through. That's why I was wondering if it was more, because there are some genetic markers out there that we just have to work through. Whether it's diabetes or multiple sclerosis or cerebral palsy. Those are some aspects in my family history that impact me and my way of thinking about exercise. But one of the things that I love is I have my Fitbit, and I have it programmed so if I'm sitting, I have to get up every 20 minutes and walk around, and I try to get steps. So for our inspired listeners out there, if you want to get, motivated, hook up with Lisa and get a personal trainer and start working on the lifestyle changes. But also with the wearable technology that we have nowadays is just fascinating to me, because eventually this technology will start to become the nanotechnology. This technology will start to go from the outside of the body of being inside the body, flowing through your bloodstreams. I think we would see that in our lifetime. So where you are having a heart attack, your modern day Fitbit would say, hey, you need to go to the hospital. You're having a heart attack, or you have low oxygen blood. But I think it's, we have technology too that helps aid us with, different apps, wearable technology that can help with your lifestyle as well. Is it fair to say that meditation helped get you to that balance point and get that inflammation in your body down, even being asthmatic, where you started to realize that you didn't need to work out 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and that you could find that balance? Was that through the power of meditation? Just wondering.
I wasn't meditating at that time, but what got me to the point that I knew that I had to get better was that I knew I would have lost my life, and that scared me. So I made a decision to listen to my body, and I said I will not do any type of competitions. I will sleep when I feel like I will acknowledge how I feel. because remember the doctor told me I was a non-perceiver. So I literally had to really work hard to say, how do I feel right now? And so I have to point this out because I've worked with a lot of women, and I think this will resonate, is that a lot of women don't really know how they feel at times, not to the extent of how it's affecting them. And I say that because, you know, men and women, we both do a lot, but women are bred to, we believe like, okay, the child needs everything right now. And we believe, and you can watch a woman take her child outside versus a man, and the man is like, he's going to be there, they're going to have fun, but like the woman is connected to every little thing that happens. And so then we begin to get stressed about every little thing. And I've watched this where men are just kind of a little more relaxed. Oh, they're just playing. Oh, they fell. No big deal. You know, they're okay. Look, he just got up.
Yeah.
A woman, we stress about everything, right? And so because we believe that we have to be everything, we don't always know. And now things have changed. Women at one point decades ago did not have to like necessarily work, take care of the kids, run the kids around. And so you'll find that in a lot of households, although there are a lot of active men, that you still have people that are single parents. You still have women that not, even if their husband is volunteering, the woman still feels like, no, I'll do it. And so we began to tax our body, and I just realized that I had to start to really observe the kind of decisions that I was making. And because all the doctors wanted to do was give me prednisone, which was making me it was a horrible medication, unless it's needed for something very specific. Oh, my gosh. So I made a decision that I wanted to live, and I wanted to be able to teach people how to overcome this type of life stress. So really me becoming aware, me sleeping more, and learning the what I needed to do in the sense of the type of exercises, how hard I could go, if I felt like it was a little too much. And I must tell you, I committed to, I would do nothing outside of simply being, you know, no competitions for a year until I had no respiratory issues. And even once I did, I didn't really care about doing competitions anymore. So it was really me just kind of being more in tune with my body, resting a lot, and really pacing myself.
Yeah, that's important. Connecting those dots and having that awareness or awakening gets you to where you're at now. It's a journey of 1,000 miles.
Absolutely.
One step, as they say. So we're going to head into the last section of our show here. We're going to go to our last commercial break. Thanks for hanging out with us this afternoon, the day before Thanksgiving. I hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be back in 2 minutes here on Inspired Living Radio with Mark and Kim.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
America's service members and veterans are strong, forged out of bravery, sacrifice, and duty. Sometimes reaching out for help can be the most challenging and worthwhile mission of all. When you recognize something isn't right, make the call to the Veterans Crisis Line or Military Crisis Line. Dial 1-800-273-8255 and press 1.
Welcome back to Inspired Living Radio here on OMTimes, the voice of consciousness. Our very special guest, Lisa Tanker, fitness and lifestyle guru. If you want to call in, you can call in at 202-570-7057. Love to take your question for Lisa or myself. Right before we went to the break, Lisa, one of the things that was coming up was the word disease, which I like to say is dis-ease. And through your awakening, get on the path of being more in shape, you realized I want to live. And your body was saying, not that it had disease, but it was of dis-ease based on you were doing too much, not getting enough rest, no balance, all about exercise. And so I think it's important that, in the last section of the show, you were talking about that awakening that you have, because it connects the dots. That awakening starts getting you to ask the whys, and the whys kind of lead us to the wheres, and the wheres take us to the whos and the hows, and it's an amazing journey. And I know by reading your bio, Lisa, that you have this program called, you do an overhaul, a 360-degree lifestyle overhaul. I want you to just share that with the inspired listeners of what that looks like and what it's all about.
Absolutely. And if it's okay, I do want to just kind of go back quickly to, you asked about if meditation helped me in the process, and at the time I wasn't meditating. But about 4 years ago, I think it was maybe 3 to 4 years ago, Oprah and Deepak, as well as other guests, had this big event that I went to, and I remember doing a meditation there, and it felt so good. And I said, I have to start doing this.
Was that the 21-day meditation program that they were doing?
So I do that one, but this was a live event where there were a lot of live guests, and Deepak did an actual like a 10-minute meditation, but I remember how I felt. So I knew at that time I wanted to evolve. It was just something in me I wanted to grow. And now that bringing the meditation up, that was another component of my life that has allowed me to grow and be able to manage stress, or not even get stressed like I normally would have gotten in the past. And so to your point, initially it was listening to my body, and then it kind of moved towards me saying, you know what things can I do to proactively not get myself to a point of stress? So you are absolutely right. The meditation has helped me tremendously, and it was a process for me. And so these are all the things that I've taken when you talk about that, the transformation community. I actually celebrate people through an event that I do that's called the Amazing Transformation Event, who lost weight and improved their lives. And I actually took a group of 30 women last year and said, if I give them everything that I know works, how will they grow in their lives? And so what that looks like is the physical component, which is only 3 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week of working out at a pace that pushes people beyond what they would normally push themselves, because that is we do have to kind of push ourselves to the next level, but also being aware of any ailments that affect them and working around those health issues. You will be surprised the number of women I've had who've had serious health issues. One lady had 2 torn aortas and was devastated to work out, terrified. And we were able to get her to work out, and she lost 25 pounds. And, so to overcome that fear that she had. So I really love to embrace the working out, but working out around what works for your body particularly. And then the second component is learning how to eat healthier. Just the key of looking at your daily way of eating. And then I would say, okay, how do we take this way of eating and carve out the unhealthy things, keep the healthy things, carve out the unhealthy, and even add in nutrients that also support, whether that's a disease state or just simply support us feeling better. And then that third component is the whole emotional component. I do coaching sessions. So right now I have an online program that I've created that's called Find Your Power. Today I essentially developed it from coaching women in a live session. And what that looks like is getting us to open up. The reason most people, men and women, have issues getting healthier is that everyone believes that they look at a picture and want to look like a picture, but we all believe that those people are perfect and we're all by ourselves when it comes to being healthier or stress that we face. So by getting people into a setting where we can talk about, let me share with you what I've gone through, and you realize that you're not alone, all of a sudden you're letting out those fears. You're letting out the things that have stopped you from moving forward. And now once we can kind of acknowledge the truth of where we are, all of a sudden now we can make the right decisions to move forward. So the whole transformation comes in with the whole mindset and letting people know that they're not alone. Let's be honest. Let's talk about why we feel like we can't eat healthy. This could be something that happened in childhood or just how we feel about ourselves or not feeling worthy. And then let's talk about the real stress issues that bother us. I'm stressed on my job, but I don't really know what to do about it. And so once those issues are addressed, along with healthy eating, along with activities that work for our particular body, then the transformation truly occurs. So not only do people start to lose weight, get healthier, they also start to really see that this can truly be a lifestyle. And when I tell you that I've seen these type of transformations really equate into, I cannot tell you the number of clients I've had who have started their own business, written books, built new relationships, because all of a sudden the confidence is there. Beyond the confidence people really know internally, like, I am truly living healthier and I feel better. So that is the overall transformation and what I stand for and what I want to share with people.
Oh, that's powerful. And again, it comes back to that mindset. It all starts with your thoughts. And I always like to, when I work with my clients, I always let them know that things are born twice, once in our mind and then into our reality. And I think that's, very part of your transformational program that you are offering clients is to start with the mindset. And again, going back to the meditation too, I think what helps with meditation when you start to become more of the observer or you become more higher conscious way of thinking, stress is a choice, right? It's going to be around you depending on how you choose to respond, but it helps you to de-stress or respond to those stressful triggers that life, tends to throw at us. And that's also the power of meditation. Because stress, in my background of emergency medicine, stress is one of the number one killers of us all. And, you've got heart disease, you've got, cancer, but a lot of that is usually brought on by some sort of stress and studies that they've done, and I've always found that very fascinating. So thank you for sharing that with the power of meditation. We're getting close to the end of the show. I told you time just flies when we're having fun. But a question that did come in from an inspired listener. They want to know, with the holidays coming up, literally Thanksgiving tomorrow, again, so happy Thanksgiving to all of our inspired listeners out there, especially if you're in the United States. What do you do to get through the holiday season? How do you stay healthy? Nutrition obviously is a big part of this when it comes to food. And in your experience, is there real science behind actual exercise versus, they talk a lot about 80% is diet, 20% is exercise. You got to have that exercise, of course, for your heart. But I just wanted you to speak to that and what do you do through the holidays?
Absolutely. Healthy eating is the largest part, and I would absolutely put that at the 80%. And the exercise helps to shape, sculpt your heart health and make you feel better. But the key for the holidays, the first thing I say is stay active throughout the year. So don't let the holidays be an exception. Now, what you may do, because there are a lot of holiday parties, your schedule may change. You may want to relax a bit because you've put in a long year. Commit to staying active 2 to 3 days out of that week, period. No matter what, be active in some form or fashion. The second thing that I would say is monitor your weight, but do not commit to weight loss at this time. And the reason I say that is weight loss is one of those things that you're saying, I want to lose weight, but then you're around all these tempting things. And sometimes when we have that kind of pressure, it makes us do the opposite of what we're there to do. So I would say make healthy eating choices, enjoy the holiday season, but if you have a choice to eat, to drink wine, to have dressing, to have dessert, have small amounts that one day, or pick and choose which ones you'll have, but don't, eat for the whole next 5 weeks those things that will cause weight gain. So definitely monitor your weight, but don't commit to. So you want to just kind of keep your weight in the same range that it is. The third thing that I would say is to work for yourself. Like, don't work against yourself. And so what that means is, instead of making the decision like, okay, I know I'm going to gain 10 pounds, I'll just start in the new year. Instead, maintain your weight, because what happens in the new year is that frustration sets in, and that keeps us on that same cycle every single year. So this is all about consistent, healthy living throughout your life, and then kind of managing times like this to say, I'll stay consistent enough, and I'll make healthier choices, although I may have things that I like to eat, because that's okay. And then the fourth thing I would say is make the holiday season more about being social. And I know that can be hard for some people who don't have their families around them, but if you have people that you can connect with, make it about being social, and then enjoy that plate of food that day and go back to the social aspect. And those four things will really help you to make healthier decisions around really being healthy throughout your life and not having that weight fluctuation and frustration set in during the holiday season.
I love that, and thank you for sharing that with us. So real quickly, I'm going to give you some rapid-fire questions for you. We didn't talk about this. I always like to surprise guests with these questions. They're fun questions, but I'm just curious for the inspired listener community out there, what's your current book that you're currently reading, or what's your favorite book?
Oh, gosh, I thought you were going to ask me what book was I working on. I'm like, are you reading my mind? Okay.
No, or what book you're working on. That works too.
Well, that's something that's definitely in my heart. The book that I love is The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire by Deepak Chopra. And essentially that book is to recognize that the coincidences in life are not coincidences, and paying attention to that to be guided in your life. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And who inspires you? Who do you look up to?
I am inspired by Oprah Winfrey. And I'm inspired by her because it's so many reasons, but to see the way that she's moved through her life, even when circumstances didn't, quote, look in her favor, but because everything she talked about was to really inspire people and to really be her authentic self, no matter what decade it was in her life or what age, I saw how she was able to help people. And so it's really touched me because I have truly been able to grow as a fitness and lifestyle expert by not being the person who says, let me just post an Instagram picture, but by saying, I'm going to put inspirational content out here. And there are some people who are supposed to be touched. No matter how this looks to anybody, this is who I really am. And I see people start to gravitate to that. So it's about being authentic, and I see her living in that authentic truth.
Well, that's why I love you, Lisa, because it's all about living authentic, and that's what I teach on as well. So thank you so much for being on today's show. Next week, we have special guest, Robin Raj Munger, the Mystic Cowgirl. She's going to be taking live readings, and Kim will be back, hopefully on her feet. I will be in England studying abroad for a couple weeks, so I hope to be able to call in live from England. If you want to check out more of Lisa's work, visit her at lisataker.com, or you can get with her on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Lisa Taker. Thanks so much, Lisa. Love to have you back in 2017.
Thank you for having me.
This conversation.
Thank you. I loved it.
Thanks
for having
guys.
me.
Yeah, thank you. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Until next week, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Namaste.